Well, here I am, back with my truck driving cap on, and we are off into Euro Truck Simulator after a long break. Hopefully there won't be any more big breaks like that, but I have been busy, which we'll get into a little bit later on, as we get precariously close to that wall. And we have not been to Lyon, and there seems to be like a lot of things that can be unlocked over here, so I might as well just drive about. And also should pick up a mission as well, shouldn't I? Up from over here. There is a garage, but we don't even have anywhere near enough money for a garage. And I'm pretty sure last episode, it's been like a month almost since last episode. If we head over to the company manager, go to garage manager, pretty sure I hired a new driver. Yes, we do have 3 in Berlin now. So Berlin should be racking in the money very shortly as well. So now, if I go check out my bank, yeah, I reckon now with all those people that we've got now, we should be able to make a profit even with the loan repayments, because we of course have to pay interest back, but we might go ahead and just hurry it up and pay the loan back off ourselves without waiting the full amount of days. Anyway, we're back in today. I'll tell you why I've been busy. I've been doing a lot of things. I've been sort of semi-studying university courses, although they aren't really university courses, just things that interest me through online education. There's some, I've been looking around at different university sites, etc., where you can where they're self-paced, which seems to really I really like self-paced type of educational programs where you don't have to spend like 4 years at a university or something. Like, you just want to learn something for the sake of learning it. I completely understand and support having to go through university and being accredited, etc., to be a doctor or I guess a lawyer or engineer or something like that. But if you just want to learn, you don't really need to go to a proper institution to go do that. You can just, especially now with the age of the internet, you can go ahead and pirate a few books off Pirate Bay or whatever. So there's always that. And firstly, before we go off into somewhere where we don't know where we're going, I should pick up a job from Lyon, which we are. Okay, red, that's definitely new. ADR class 3. To Strasbourg, that seems like a nice drive. What about down through to maybe Bern? Anything through to Bern? Let's go. Yeah, so no, they're not alphabetically ordered. They're just by destination. Wasn't that? Definitely not. Or Mannheim. Have we been to Mannheim yet? I really tell. No, I don't think so. No, I haven't. Let's go to Mannheim. That seems interesting. In Germany. Definitely sounds German. Double click that. Oh, no, that was one of those automatic jobs, wasn't it? Derp. Anyway, at least we'll be driving a different truck. There we go. Bit of a different scenery. Inside looks very different. I think that's our bed or mattress behind us. And of course, it's raining. Let's go ahead and start it up. Alright, thankfully we've got everything connected, and seem to have some farming simulator equipment up in here. But yeah, back to online education. There's a lot of things now popping up, like in Australia there's an open education, or open EDU it's called, where you can go ahead and study these things yourself. University courses, like legitimate university courses, but of course you've got to pay for them. That's definitely really interesting, and they seem to be advertising on Australian television a lot. That's always very exciting. Things like that popping out in more popular culture now. And I've been looking at different American websites as well. There's one called Coursera. It's an American-based website, but lots of universities will add their own courses and lectures to that website. There's a couple of interesting programming types of lectures as well, and courses that you can study, such as cryptography, which I find very fascinating. Cryptography and keeping messages secret, etc., and just like passwords and all that type of good stuff. It's always very interesting. And I've also been investing a bit of money into bitcoins, and I've been just learning as much as I can about bitcoins, which is what we are going to be talking about today. I do like to keep these topic orientated, these videos, because I think that's always a little bit more interesting, apart from just driving in a straight line for the most part. And oh god, headlight usage offense. Okay, I guess I wasn't using my headlights. That's new. I never knew you had to have your headlights on during the rain in this game. I knew at night, but it's only 3 p.m. Talking about nighttime and daytime, we had daylight savings in Australia, so I've had an extra hour in my day, which is weird and good. It's a good thing because you have an extra hour in your day to go ahead and do things, but the day seems to go so slowly though. Not that I'm complaining, it is the weekend, but it's just so weird. The day just drags on and on and on. It's like you look at the clock and it's only 6 p.m. But you'd expect it to be like at least 7. Because you look outside and it's extremely dark already. But yeah, with Bitcoins, there's been a thing since 2009. And they're an online virtual cryptocurrency is, I guess, what they're properly called. And they're very, very interesting for the reason they have no central bank. And like most fiat currency is when they're not tied up to a resource. Like back in the good olden days, money was tied to the value of gold. So you knew if you traded in $100 $100 or pounds or whatever, you'd get a certain amount of gold. Whereas these days, it doesn't really work like that. And now the government can print as much money as it would like, pretty much. Or at least not the government, the central bank, which is still tied in, although independently to the government. And in most countries, the central bank can choose how much money it prints. Like in America, you guys have gone through your quarterly easing or whatever it's called. And that means the central bank prints out a whole shit ton of money. And pretty much every year, every currency has a certain amount of money printed, which is a good thing and it's a bad thing as well, because it means that eventually and ultimately, your $100 is not really worth as much as it was, say, 10 years ago. That's why you sometimes might hear things like back in 1920, $20,000 was worth $20,000 back then, but now it would be worth like $2 million. That's due to inflation because, well, back then there wasn't as much money floating around. Yeah, Bitcoins have been around since 2009, and there was a guy or a group of people, but they go under a pseudonym called Nakamoto Satoshi, who clearly sounds very Japanese, although nobody really knows who exactly it is, although it seems like it's one person. And this is where it might sound sketchy to people that don't completely understand the whole Bitcoin thing, because Bitcoins have been in the news lately very, very much. I should also put the music on, shouldn't I? Put something on. Okay, hopefully it's not going to be too loud. But yeah, Bitcoins have been in the news pretty much because they've been around for a good 3-4 years now. They've been in the news because of the Cyprus problems. The music's way too loud, isn't it? Let's go change that real quick. Audio. Sound effects. Music. There we go. That seems better. Although the little choosing button hasn't seemed to have moved. There we go. At least we can hear the rain now. I like the sound of rain. But they've been in the news because, especially after the Cyprus bank bailout, before they were only about $40 a Bitcoin to a US dollar. Now they've risen all the way up to $140 American for one Bitcoin. So they've definitely risen in price a heck of a lot, like unimaginably. Especially in the last couple of days, they went up from $100, which is a lot of money, because when they hit $100, they were worth over $1 billion. Just if you had every single Bitcoin, the whole market value was over $1 billion. It's a lot of money. Although nothing too major to scare, I guess, the major currencies off, but it's still bigger than some other nations' currencies already. Or the worth and value of it. But it's been in the news because of just how fast it's been rising up, and that's pretty much because it can't be controlled by anyone. And after all, you might have heard what has happened in Cyprus. I think they eventually ended up taking, I think it was 20% of people's bank savings if they had over $100,000. And the maximum amount that they could withdraw from the bank accounts was only like 150 euros every day. So that's definitely quite bad. So imagine 20% of your life savings taken away off you, or at least if you had them in a bank. And then you had a limit put upon you where you can only take 150 euros out of the bank, which is, I think, like 275 American dollars. $275 a day, it's not too bad, but you wouldn't be able to do any major purchases. If you had planned to, I don't know, purchase like a fridge or something, you'd have to wait a couple of days. You'd have to take out money every single day. It's definitely a bit of a problem, and it's pretty much theft, because they had to take your own money out, and they had to bail the Cypriot banks out, especially the Cypriot bank. I can't remember what it was called, but I'm sure you European guys would know a bit more than me about that, but it's definitely not good, no matter which way you look at it. Although I guess Cyprus decided that was best for them to stay in the euro, because I don't know what they'd be doing after that. They wouldn't be able to import anything because their currency would be virtually worthless. Yeah, should have looked on the left side of my screen as well. Just hit into a car. Hopefully we haven't damaged ourselves too bad. Oh, we did damage ourselves 1%. It's not too bad though. I thought I installed a mod which will enable me to go past any type of speed. We'll get rid of the speed limitations. It seems like we're stuck at 90 kilometers an hour. Oh well. So what I did, I uninstalled all the mods after the 1.3 patch because something was crashing the game. But back to Bitcoins, back to what we were talking about. They were made by a group or one guy, presumably, called Satoshi, or Nakamoto Satoshi. And he's been anonymous ever since. But they've been around since 2009 now. And the way they work is that it's pretty... Oh, God, really? I don't have my lights on. That they work through peer-to-peer technology. So it's a bit like uTorrent or however you torrenty things. One person has a file and then he seeds it to other people so then they can download it. It works a bit like that. It's all done online. Although to have money, you don't need it to be online. You can have a wallet, and which is a massive amount of numbers, etc., which is like your own unique PIN code, and you can have your own wallet, and then you input your own money into it, your own Bitcoins, and you can withdraw, and it's completely, there's no fees or anything if you want to just transfer from one wallet to another wallet, although some services do take fees, which is a bit unfortunate, but they want a slice of money. As we lagged up. What is this? What the hell is going on? We're going forward as well. Let me be right. Alright, you gotta love when that happens. You just stop recording and then everything goes super fast. But you guys didn't see that, unfortunately. But yeah, so you can have your own wallets, which you store your money in, and you can have that completely offline, etc., unhackable, just because of the sheer amount of pretty much brute force computing power you need to hack into, I guess, someone's wallet. It's the way that cryptography works, etc., is that everything is crackable. Well, almost every algorithm is crackable. Although some just have so many possibilities and chances of cracking the password that it'd take pretty much, if you had every single computer in the world that exists right now and before, and anyone that'll exist in the next 100 years, and added them all up together, it'd still be in like 8 light years time. You'd only be able to crack the password, just because of the sheer amount of numbers and the difficulty that it is to crack at least the cryptography that Bitcoins use. So it's extremely hard for someone to steal your money. But of course, someone can steal your money in Australian dollars, etc. But there's a lot of detractors saying that Bitcoins are created by hackers, or that they're easily hacked, which isn't really true at all. It's just the mainstream media. It's something completely different to them. They don't really understand what Bitcoins are just yet. Although there are some people that are getting a lot more knowledgeable, at least in the mainstream media as well. And so yeah, the way the Bitcoins work, I really should go ahead and try to explain that. So the way that they're created is that there's all this is also open source. So it's not like the creators are making any money out of this, as in it's not a get rich quick scheme, or it's a pyramid scheme, or they're just scamming everyone. It's completely legitimate, completely transparent as well. And you can go ahead and look at the source code and see how everything works right in front of you. And if you know how to read code, computer code, it's pretty easy to at least decipher how everything would work. But the way they work is that the way they're created, at least, is that people have mining rigs. So back in the olden days, when it wasn't very hard to mine a Bitcoin, so by mining I mean you had there was an algorithm. It was quite difficult, although it wasn't as difficult as an AES 256-bit, which is what I was talking about before, with the amount of light years it would take to unlock a certain password or whatever. But it does take a little bit of time to unlock a blockchain, or a block of Bitcoins, and they're scheduled to unlock every, I think it's 25 blockchains every 10 minutes, something like that at the moment. And the difficulty rises up if there's too much computational power in the network, and the difficulty lowers if it's there's a lot less computational power. So you'd have your computers. So by mining rigs, people used to just mine with their CPU, and the CPU would go ahead and try to solve an algorithm. And if you'd unlock the algorithm, then you'd get a certain coin. Or now they've moved into GPUs, so graphic processing units. Oh god, what the hell is happening with my computer? What if we just press escape? That always works. Alrighty, I've really got to get myself a new computer, or at least shut down some processes that are running in the background now, because this is ridiculous. But some people now are using graphic processing units, so your graphics card, to be able to mine some more Bitcoins, because the way that the Bitcoins are solved, or the Bitcoin algorithm, it requires the way that GPUs are created these days. They're much more beneficial to solve the algorithms than CPUs. I don't know really the way it works, and AMD cards seem to do a lot better than NVIDIA cards, just because of their architecture. Now people are starting to use specific hardware to be able to mine some Bitcoins. So you can mine Bitcoins, and they're limited to a certain amount per time. So I think over the first 4 years, the difficulty, it was supposed to be 10.5 million in the first 4 years of Bitcoins in circulation, and then every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoins in circulation cuts down in half. So in, I think, 2016, November 2016, there'll be an extra 5,250,000 Bitcoins in circulation. And so it keeps on halving itself every 4 years until 2140. And by then, there'll be 21 million Bitcoins, and that will be it. And there'll be 21 million Bitcoins in circulation, and you can't go ahead and print any more Bitcoins or anything like that. That's going to be it, and that's all they are limited to and set to. So that's the amount of Bitcoins that you can have. So that way, you know how much a Bitcoin is almost always going to be worth. Or at least it's not going to become any more worthless, because there's going to be more of them, and you know exactly at the rate at which they're produced, which is a very, very useful thing in comparison to a fiat currency, which is like the Australian dollar or American dollar, any type of dollar really. So I don't think there's any type of currency in the world at this stage that's tied to the gold standard, which is meaning that you can trade in $100 and you'll get $100 worth of gold. In that sense, you always get the same amount of gold for $100 because now gold changes value, especially in comparison to the US dollar, and you would have made a killing if you invested in gold quite a while ago. Not as much anymore. Anyway, so hopefully that hasn't made you guys too skeptical, at least what I was explaining. But you don't have to mine bitcoins, and that's what I'm not doing personally. Personally, you can use it as a real currency, as as a means to trade and exchange, so you can buy different things. At the moment, there aren't that many places where you can go ahead and give your bitcoins in return for a service or a product. But you can go ahead and buy, I guess the one major thing is Silk Road, so drugs. I'm sure if you guys listened to one of the previous Euro Truck Simulator videos, you would have heard me talk about Silk Road. That's pretty much completely destroyed the state's war on drugs. I mean, like nation states, not the United States, but they seem to be the ones that are most against drugs, which I find incredibly ironic because America likes to pride itself on freedom and liberty, but they say no to drugs. When drugs don't affect anyone but yourself. Of course, like you can go ahead and pretty much kill yourself, which I guess would have effects on other people as well, but the point is, at the crux of it, you're only harming yourself, pretty much. Which, yeah, is pretty ridiculous. That's a nation, or nations that do like to promote freedom and liberty, do like to ban drugs. Just doesn't make any sense, but that's pretty much one of the major things where you can sell or give your bitcoins to in return for drugs. And the good thing about bitcoins is they're completely anonymous as well, or at least they can be. So you can go ahead and buy some bitcoins. So you can buy some bitcoins either through just a transaction, so you can give someone else a service or whatever. You can give someone Australian dollars or any type of fiat currency or a certain amount of bitcoin. So you can go to a website like Local Bitcoins and you can trade with someone for real money, as in like Australian dollars. I give someone 100 Australian dollars and then they'll give me the conversion of bitcoin. So say if I give $100 of Australian dollars, then I'll get like 0.7 of a bitcoin. So yeah, 0.7 bitcoins at the moment, something like that. It'll convert to that amount. So with that, you can buy drugs. You can, on Silk Road, you can buy computer parts off certain websites. You can go ahead and I think, oh god damn, WordPress. Oh god, that was 0% damage as well. There's WordPress now that's using bitcoins, which you can go ahead and I think buy websites or URLs and use WordPress that way. Reddit, which is one of the bigger websites out there in the internet, one of the more popular ones. You can buy Reddit Gold, which is, I guess, you don't get ads. Of course, you can download AdBlock, but like you can get Reddit Gold, which is just some special service that they give you with bitcoins, and ultimately that is what will raise the price of bitcoins over time. Just more and more merchants giving you the ability to buy things with bitcoins. At the moment, what's caused the massive spike in Bitcoin, well, the amount of Bitcoins or how much they're worth, is because there's a lot of people that have been buying into them. So, for example, there have been, well, it really started since March 18, this massive boost in Bitcoins because of what's happened in Cyprus. So people wanted to get their money out of the banks real quick, and just all around Europe as well, because what's happening in Europe is quite sad. And they've wanted to get their money away from governments, out of the banks, and be able to have their wealth, but just not in the euro or a certain nation's currency. So what's happening in New Zealand as well is they're looking at something that's very similar to what they've done in Europe or in Cyprus. So that's quite a worry for my fellow people over the ditch that might be losing, at least the people with a lot of money in their bank accounts might lose a lot of money. So there's a lot of people that want to get their money out of banks and into different things. So things such as gold deposits. Well, if you have gold deposits in bank vaults, then I'm pretty sure in most countries there's laws and regulations saying that if it's in the national interest or national security, of course, as most nations would say, they have the rights to take your gold away. Because gold is always going to have a certain value to it because it's always going to be necessary. I mean, you can always use it for jewelry, but it's also useful for things like electronics, and I'm not really too knowledgeable on that stuff, but there's a heck of a lot of things that you can use gold for as well. So there's always going to be a certain value to gold. Whereas with your money, there's really, you're going to have to trust the government that it costs or that it is worth a certain amount. So people are now getting their money away, and that's what's caused such a spike in Bitcoins, is because there's so many people that are interested in investing in them and getting their money away. So if you think of a currency that gets 40% or that rises 40% in one day, that's what happened. In one day it rose 40% from $100, which is quite an epic moment. People would think that it at least plateau at $100 because people would want to sell it off, or most people would think that there'd be a lot of people selling off at $100 because they would think that it wouldn't be rising in money. But for whatever reason, over the last couple of days especially, it rose 40%. It's up to around $140 in US dollars for one Bitcoin. So that's an amazing amount of money that can be made just in currency speculation, which is investing in a currency and then expecting it to either rise or crash, and then you can sell off and all that good stuff, which is sort of what I'm doing with the American dollars myself as well, because with the machinima they pay you in American dollars, sorry. So at the moment I'm just holding off my money into PayPal, because PayPal of course screws people over and takes a good chunk of money away from you. I think it's like 3% of your transaction they take away from you, so that's a fair amount of money. And the currency conversion rates aren't the best either. So at the moment I'm just holding my money in PayPal and just waiting for the Australian dollar to crash, or at least go down a lot lower, because at the moment I think it's pretty unsustainable, especially, well, it'll go down once the mining boom is over and China starts to slow down. China can't keep on growing forever and ever, because there's a good report on American 60 Minutes about China's ghost towns, and they're building all these things but nobody's living in them. So there's building things for the sake of keeping the economy going, so China's got to slow down at least very soon. So hopefully, I mean, it's not a really good thing to hope that the Australian dollar will crash, but of course it'll help out a lot of people as well, like in manufacturing. They'll be able to well, at least sell at a lot of better of a price. They'd be able to make a good amount of money. Instead now they're struggling. The manufacturing industry in Australia is definitely struggling a lot, and there's a lot of companies that are getting government subsidies. And personally, for me, if the Australian dollar were to crash, or at least go down to, say, even something, if it went down to, say, 60 cents to an American dollar, that'd be pretty epic, because I'd almost double my money. Not almost, but I'd make over I'd make a nice, tidy sum of money. I'd make, like, well, 40% of my money, really. So that's pretty good. But that'll take a little while yet, so that's what currency speculation is, like investing in one currency and then hoping it'll rise in price. which is if what you've put your money into Bitcoins with, you could have made a lot of money as well. Because Bitcoins used to cost pretty much nothing, like literally 10 cents, 1 cent back in the really early days. So there's a funny story that the first Bitcoin transaction was for a pizza. Is a rather infamous story. And I think there was 2 pizzas. And someone paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas. It was back in 2009. So imagine if the person had 10,000 Bitcoins now, and 1 Bitcoin was selling for $140, you'd be making what? Wouldn't it be like something around $14 million? 10,000 Bitcoins for about $14 million. That's crazy. It's a ridiculous amount of money. And so yeah, I don't think I've really done the best job of explaining how everything works, but as best as I could in Euro Truck Simulator. And of course, I wouldn't be a YouTuber if I wasn't leeching off and begging or e-begging for donations. But this is a common thing in Bitcoins. You can always spread the word and ask for donations. If anyone knows about Bitcoins or wants to gift me any donations, there'll be my Bitcoin address down below. But I'll also leave a lot of links to some educational sources where you can learn about Bitcoins. And 'cause I guess a lot of people think they're scams. There's some funny videos that I've seen circulating around in Bitcoin forums of people saying the internet back in like 1996, the internet's just a big waste of time, and people not knowing like how to email, and they're thinking there's this one segment I think on NBC, and there was a crime segment. It was like crime@nbc.com, and there was this host thinking there's no crime at NBC, and he's like really confused at what the @ means, and thinking about how the internet's just one big scam. I think it's just people not being very knowledgeable about just Bitcoins and thinking they're scams and everything on the internet being a big scam, but really it's not. Although if you're an idiot, of course, you're going to run into problems. But for the most part, I don't think most people run into problems on the internet. I mean, even on the seediest of porn websites, I don't think people would run into problems. And again, I wouldn't really know, because there's idiots that still to this day pay for porn, which absolutely makes no sense to me at all. Those poor suckers. But anyway, guys, until next time, we have delivered the goods. Hopefully we'll make a tidy sum of money as well. We just made like $8,000 just to our people as well. Show me the money. Oh, 2% now. Damage. Alright, still a while yet to level 24, but another episode of Euro Truck Sim has been completed. Very good fun. I'll go ahead and drive a little bit more because I feel like talking a bit more. I do love the sound of my voice clearly. But until next time, guys, I'll see you all later. We're back into our truck. Very nice. Thankfully, it's not raining. The sun's out. Well, the moon's out, not the sun, and the stars are out as well. So, I'll see you again, hopefully on another Sunday. Hopefully next week in 7 days' time. But if not, I'll still continue on the Euro Truck Sim series. But until next time, I'll see you all later.